Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. My name is Diane Smith. I'm in the marketing team here at RiverWoods, and I'm joined by 4 of our residents, and I'll introduce them. Alan Pisons, who moved in August of this year. Tina Morris moved in also in August of 2020, and Dennis and Nancy Wagner, who moved in November of 2019. So for those of you who are not familiar with RiverWoods, welcome and welcome, welcome. I say that because I can't see you in person and hug you and shake your hand. So I just am so grateful to you taking the time to hear from our residents and to learn a little bit about RiverWoods. For anyone that has not been here or does not know about us, we are a continuing care retirement community founded by 2 visionary women over 25 years ago. We have over 600 residents here. Our mission is to keep you independent for as long as possible. We provide all 3 levels of care, and we're a type A contract, and we're a nonprofit. So I won't get into too many details of the community because the subject here today is, what's it been like your first year? We all understand that this is a very vulnerable time in your lives. You're leaving something that's very comfortable that you know of, and you're coming into a place with new people, new neighbors. What does that feel like? How are you welcomed? You know, we want to make sure that you hear from us and from residents what it's like when you first move in, the security, the welcoming that we provide. And in particular, this past year for these people with COVID, there's been an isolation factor. So not only are they moving in as new residents, but we haven't had the communal dining, and a lot of the communal activities have not occurred. So it's been a little bit of a different, integration into the community. So we wanted them to share a little bit about what their thoughts are. We welcome your questions, so please feel free to put them in the Q&A, and we'll answer them at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Alan Pisons, who moved from Dover, New Hampshire, as I mentioned, in August. And Alan has been was on our wait list for a while. He participated in many of our programs and really immersed himself in the process before moving here. So he was ready. So anyway, Alan, I'll let you share a little bit about what life has been like for you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. I moved to my RiverWoods Exeter apartment in August of 2020, so I've been here for 8 months now. In describing my first year and what it's like to join the RiverWoods Exeter community, I'd start at the very beginning with my transition to a CCRC. There was certainly a lot of anxiety starting out. The thought of the physical move to a new location with the prospect of downsizing to a totally new lifestyle in a retirement community, that was intimidating. While I wouldn't call the process easy, the marketing staff, especially Chrissy and Diane, were always there to answer questions, to make sure that whatever I needed was taken care of. Besides their work in coordinating with outside services and being supportive throughout the journey, there were other staff members that were available. They were available for whatever I needed. For instance, maintenance. They hung my drapes up for me, shower curtains, all my large pictures that I was struggling with, they put those up. What the mover didn't get right with the furniture, they rearranged it and put it all in the right places. I got help with all my communications issues. My TV, my computer worked beautifully. Phone service was right there the first day. I even had dinner delivered to my apartment that first evening, so I was well fed starting out. All in all, things went quite smoothly and everything worked out in the end. Finally, I can't say enough about the greetings from my new neighbors in those first few days. Virtually every nearby resident and some from a fair ways away knocked on my door. They introduced themselves to me. They welcomed me to the community. I got a whole lot of home baked treats and small welcoming gifts. I even got a jar of honey. I learned that that comes from our own bee colony here. I got directions to meeting places and invitations to regular gatherings. Offers came from everyone to help with whatever I needed. It was very welcoming and reassuring. One of the things I learned about early on is the practice RiverWoods has of putting out coffee and muffins each morning. It starts at 7 a.m. Where I live in the Woods campus, it's served in the cafe. Throughout the morning, residents pass through there to start their day. What I like to do is to bring my eye opener next door to the founder's parlor. There's always a group of folks there to share pleasant conversation, review current events, offer personal anecdotes, and make their plans for the day. I'm not sure there's a typical day for me here at RiverWoods, but something I enjoy is a walk through our hiking trail system. There's literally miles of trails connecting and circling all three campuses. From many of the apartments, you can step out your door and walk for as far as you like. Everything's well maintained by the Resident Trails Committee and landscaping staff. It's regularly upgraded by residents in our wood shop. They do things like walkways through marshy areas. They put up benches so you could rest and visit with other people, and for signage so you don't really get too lost out there. Some other activities that I've taken up here are horseshoes, bocce, pool, and a whole assortment of card games. As regards these activities, there's one common thread, and that's very important to me. These are things that residents want to do. RiverWoods management does not dictate what we should do. Lifestyle is community driven and staff is very responsive to resident needs and interests. An example of that is our bocce court. About 7 years ago, some residents got the idea. They brought it to the community life people. They formed a working group to work out the details, and a court was built. It was the same process for our pool area. That's billiards pool as opposed to swimming. A few years ago, some residents identified a potential space and moved the process forward. It's enjoyed throughout the community today. An annual tournament that starts this month is very popular for all talent levels. That said, while these additions are a collaboration, management does have the final say. For instance, if there's an idea for a high diving platform at our swimming pool, it would probably be met with a respectful no. At RiverWoods, you have the choice to do as much or as little as you like. I enjoy afternoon periods in my solarium with a good book and just looking out at both nature and the comings and goings of those around me. A terrific help in making life easy here in RiverWoods is what's provided in the way of transportation services. That's called campus services here. They maintain a significant fleet of vehicles that are all sizes. If, for instance, I like to go from my home at the Woods campus to the Boulders to check out their library, I just hop in a van, and before I know it, I'm browsing through an array of mystery novels there. Other transportation that's provided is trips to doctors and dentists, accompaniment to medical procedures, grocery shopping, pharmacy pickups. Prescriptions are delivered right to your door if you'd like. There's trips to banks and department store shopping. We've been restricted by this pandemic, but things are getting better. I'm told that residents regularly plan off-campus trips for things like concerts, plays, park outings, and dinners. Transportation by our own campus services team helps make that experience that much more enjoyable. They really do go out of their way to make life better. In talking about the Riverwood staff, the term staff, it doesn't seem appropriate. Virtually all of the residents that I've talked to here think of them as friends first. All that they do for us every day could not fit into a simple job description. They make our lives better in so many ways and is very much appreciated. I think that covers just about all I have to say about my first year's experience, but there is, however, one item that marketing had. They have a list of questions that are most asked by prospective residents. I think I can speak to that. And the question was, how will I know when it's the right time to make the move? Well, when to make the move is a very personal decision. It's driven by individual circumstances. For me, healthcare was not an immediate priority. I'm in pretty good health right now. My more pressing issues were related to today's quality of life. With a shrinking circle of friends and pandemic-driven social distancing, I was spending more time than I wanted alone in an oversized house. I was consumed more with everyday chores, home maintenance, and repairs. At my age, I didn't want to be climbing ladders, shoveling out from the latest blizzard, or tending to a lawn. Who needs a regular schedule of house cleaning, clothes washing, and meal cooking? Also, I didn't want to burden my family with this growing list of concerns. The good news is the problems were solved, and my only second thought is about what I missed out on by not making the move sooner. I'm very happy to be at RiverWoods.
Thank you, Alan. That's great. Thank you, Alan. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Tina, you're next. Tina moved from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, so not too far away at the end of August. So you can share what it's been like for you.
Well, a warm spring welcome to everybody from RiverWoods. I even cleaned my apartment for you. Can you tell? No. I first came to RiverWoods with my sister-in-law, who was interested in the CCRC. And while she was in meetings, I walked around and asked everyone the same question. Are you happy? There was not one person that said, everybody was thrilled to be here. And I mean everybody I spoke to. And the thing they said, same as Alan, I wish I had moved here earlier. So maybe you need to be ready at your own time, but that's looking back for them. But my sister-in-law did not move here, and she wished she did, and I am here. So serendipity worked quite well for me. First of all, moving in. While moving is a hard stress in your life, I can't tell you how much easier RiverWoods makes it. First of all, they send you a huge binder with so many facts about movers and how to move and how to downsize and doctors and places to go. You really get to know what's going on. And they also send you a floor plan, a large floor plan of your apartment with cutouts to arrange furniture on it. I did it over and over until I saw exactly what fit. And my apartment looks exactly like my floor layout that I worked out in my house in Portsmouth. One of RiverWoods' treasures is Chrissy Katie, who is here to greet you when you come, brings you a meal, lunch if you're here at lunchtime, and dinner. But the best part is she makes your bed with you. So you don't have to worry about making a bed so you can sleep that first night. Really, that's little but nice, really nice. The welcoming committee, as Alan talked about, every one of the buildings has a welcoming committee, and they are there at your door with honey and other handmade gifts and food, and neighbors stop in just to say hello, cards. This is, I mean, talk about surprises. You know, yes, you expect a couple of people to stop in, maybe, or who live around you, but no, this is really a lot of people welcoming you and then inviting you to their apartments, asked to just meet them. And so when I was ready, I invited every person who stopped and brought me something, a card or whatever, invited them back to my place when it was neat and clean and had no boxes around, and got to know everybody better. And those were my first friends. So nobody, I wanted to also say that nobody pushes you to come out. Alan mentioned you can have your privacy. Nobody knocks at your door and drags you out. If you are more private, that is very well accommodated. You will be very happy in your apartment, which to me, mine is like a little luxury place. It's sunlit, it's beautiful, and I'm very happy to just be in it. I settled down for a few weeks when I came here, and I looked around and asked a million questions. So I just looked and listened. And then I joined, my first thing was the gym classes. They have fabulous, fabulous gym classes. One is called Mosaic, which is a combination of weights and squats and a little aerobics, but it's all completely possible for our bodies. The teachers are beyond belief good. They are understanding, they're fun, they have good senses of humor. They tell us to do what we can do, what we feel good doing, but also encourage us to work a little harder, take a little heavier weight, try it. So they're really, really good. And then about 2 weeks ago, I started bicycle. They have the bicycle with the visuals that you can go on rides. So I'm doing 4 times a week, a little bit of bicycling. But I am also a dog walker. So I am out often, and I'm sure many of you have dogs, and you will know the name of every single dog and every single owner. I pair them together, Pam and Lucky. So you will get to know all those people. And most people say hello to my dog before they say hello to me. I don't know why. They do. They all, she stops and she gets petted a million times a day by all the people who stop. So when I was ready, I started asking, how can I give back to this community? Because it's resident run. And I joined a few committees. And I don't know how, head of the decorating committee, or I do a lot of the decorating with another lady, seasonal type decorating. Also the exhibits, I help with the exhibits, and I'm going to be joining more committees. So a lot of them interest me, and I think I will be, but I needed to settle in a little longer. During the COVID, I thought, good, this is a time for me to really take on some new challenges, things I haven't done. Well, was an art teacher for 34 years, so I'm not an outdoor hiker. I'm not a card player, a mahjong player, a bridge player, a dominoes player. I hear Mexican Train is quite interesting, but I've never played it. Anyway, so I went to the pottery studio, and I taught pottery for years, but never done it. And I'm not ready for a wheel throw yet, but I have made things that are on exhibit in the lobby of our residence. So I'm pretty excited. And now I keep thinking of more things I want to make. And so I'm very excited about trying that. And then when we could go into other buildings, I decided to call the lady I had heard makes Nantucket baskets and teaches it. And she's a resident. And she doesn't charge for her time. I had to buy my own materials, of course, but I'm in the middle of making a Nantucket basket. I am so excited. It's going to be a new obsession. I can tell right away. Anyway, there are so many things available to you for your talents, for your interests. Like you heard Alan, he had totally different interests than mine, and he's happy. Well, to have a pottery studio upstairs for me, I mean, They also have a woodworking studio. They have an arts and crafts studio. They have a painting studio. I am happy. A few other bonuses, and Alan did mention some of them, the trails. I have tried them. I do walk them with my dog, I will say that. There's a hair cutting salon, a spa. You can have massages, I think not yet, but soon. The library is open 24 hours a day. So if you can't go to sleep, you can always go down and get a book in the library. And there's plenty of book clubs. The coffee and muffin, very nice. I share a little piece with my dog every day. There's a post office on site. So you don't have to go wait for stamps or wait to mail anything. They will mail it for you, and there's no money exchanged anywhere. They just put it on your bill. And Alan did mention going to the bank, the supermarket, doctor's appointments. And there will be surprises. And I wish I could share some of the most wonderful surprises, but then they won't be surprises to you. So I will not mention them. There are two pieces that are really key, and Alan hit on these, and I'm going to make sure you know this. The people who work here are absolutely incredible. You think they are working personally for you, the way they attend to everybody's needs. It's really unbelievable. If I have a question, there's no question. They want to hear from you and want to help you. Like, where can I board my dog? Okay. Found out, printed something out for me and gave it to me. They make us all very, very, very happy. And then there's the people who live here. They are kind, gracious, and welcoming. It always amazes me how quickly you can find connections after some good conversation. When my next door neighbor returned from their summer, I said, I do know somebody with your name. And I told her where I lived and the name. And she said, oh, that's my sister-in-law. So there it was, a connection. And am I glad I moved here? Absolutely. I love my apartment. I feel relaxed, comfortable, and safe, and valued, and get very well taken care of. So when you get here, find me in the Ridge, and I'll be your very first friend.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Tina. That's beautiful. Wonderful. Great. And our last is Dennis and Nancy Wagner, who moved in November of 2019 from Hampton. No, 2000.
March.
Okay, March of 2019.
2020.
2020. Oh boy, sorry, I had that wrong. Anyway, they're here, and we look forward to hearing your insights.
Well, I think the first thing we need to cover is how we happened to come to RiverWoods, and that's a neighbor of ours where we lived in Hampton had parents who lived here, and that's the first time we'd ever even knew a CCRC existed. We didn't know, we've heard of homes for elderly, and that's how you think about that. And my elderly mother down in Florida started to have dementia and issues, and my brother and I were dealing with all that. And Dennis and I decided, we don't want to put our kids through having to deal with what are we going to do with mom or dad, or where are they going to live, or if they live in a different state, how are we going to move them to a different location closer to us? All those issues that I'm sure a lot of us have thought about or even had to deal with. And so when our neighbor told us about this CCRC, literally up the road from us, because we were in Hampton and Exeter is very close, we came and visited it and had one of the many socials that they introduce prospective residents. And we were like blown away. We're just like, okay, this is amazing. We did look at some other CCRCs and other locations, and nothing compared to the CCRC of RiverWoods. It's just fantastic. So that's how we started with our CCRC search, and that's how we discovered RiverWoods. And then now we have to go through the process of selling our home and moving, and Dennis will share our thoughts about that.
Yeah, one of the things about making the decision when to make the move, we found, and we encountered it with Nancy's mom, she got too far along in age to be able to make good decisions.
Right.
And I think it's good to look ahead. We made a commitment to get on the waiting list long before we wanted to move out of our other home. And because we knew that this is the time to think ahead so that that's not a hassle later on. And certainly by moving here, like Nancy said, it's a gift to our kids. That was important. When we got on the waiting list, we were told probably 3.5 to 4 years. And after 2 years, we kept checking in, and was told it'd probably be another 1.5 years. So we were comfortably going through thinking about downsizing and selling our home and all that, but knowing we had more time. In November of that same year, just 3 months later, we got a call. Hey, heads up, a unit might be coming available. We want to let you know to think about it. And so I asked, well, how many people are on the waiting list ahead of us? 9. And I said, forget about it. We won't. 2 weeks later, we got the call. We're up. This is November, 2 years before we really expected it. And we're headed into the holiday season. And my gosh, can we make this happen? We looked at the unit. It's really what we wanted. And so we talked to each other, said, yeah, we're gonna make this work. We were concerned about trying to do this over the holiday periods, wintertime, trying to sell your house, making a move then. And those were anxieties we dealt with that just made the big change even a little bit more stressful. But I'll tell you, dealing with marketing, they worked with us, they understood our concerns. We'll make it work was pretty much the words, and we did. On top of it all, first week of January, Nancy fell, broke her ankle, and had to have surgery on it. So, big problem for me. I didn't worry about Nancy. It was impact on me. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, we did make it. One of the things, when we did do the downsizing, we agree that starting out with the floor plan is the way to do it. You go ahead and figure out what furniture will fit, what room it will look best in, and the rest of it, you have to move on. So that part was easy. The rest of it, we had a lot of stuff, things we love over the years. And we start to look at that. We find we could spare a little bit of it, but not too much more. Then a couple of weeks later, we think, geez, maybe we could pare it down a little bit more. And that peeling the onion type of approach, I think, got us through to a point where we brought about the right amount of things that fit. And there is, it was important for us to have storage space. There is a cage to put in extra things that don't fit in your apartment, or seasonal items that you don't keep in your apartment. And that is handy for us. There is a opportunity to have your car in a garage or in a carport. That was important for us. And when we moved into the community, we found, like both Alan and Tina said, the move coordinator was just super. It went very smoothly. And
the brownies that Chrissy brought with the lunch. That's all I ate was the brownies.
Oh yeah, I'm unpacking and Nancy's eating brownies.
Anyway, I just want to say that the brownies were to die.
Yeah. We had an opportunity to tailor the apartment to what we wanted. It already had hardwood floors from the previous occupants, and we wanted those. We kept them. But we noticed that doing lighting and painting was something that Nancy felt strongly about, and that was easily done. One funny thing, our guest bathroom had been modified by the previous owners. They put in a washer dryer stackable, which was kind of an odd look. But at any rate, we wanted more storage room. We gutted that guest bathroom, and now it's a second walk-in closet. And then we had all our closet spaces designed, by the closet people to maximize the storage room. And that's been a great boon for us. And that was kind of a neat thing. So see if I cut everything there. But anyway, moving coordinator was super. And then we got moving here, and we're in. Nancy, what do we do next?
Well, as Alan and Tina mentioned, the neighbors knock on the door, little presento and a name and an apartment number, and if you need anything, this was several of our neighbors did that. Then we were a little nervous about the first night going to dinner. We moved in a week before the COVID shutdown. So we had 5 nights where we actually ate in the dining room. But our first night, we were like, oh, okay, are we going to be like sitting over in a corner somewhere by ourselves, or, how is this going to work? So we go to the dining room, and there's Sawyer was the young high school
Host.
concierge.
Host.
Yeah,
Host.
Host. And we barely got to his desk to check in, and right behind us was this sweet lady named Tinka. You know her, Diane, I'm sure. And Tinka approached us out of the blue and said, would you like to join me for dinner? And we're like, yeah. And so we had a lovely dinner with her, not by ourselves, but with a resident. Same thing happened the next night. And a couple that lives down the hall from us approached us, asked us to join them for dinner. So we got acquainted with them. And this went on, the following nights. So it just really allayed our fears of being, it's like the new kid in high school where you're like sitting over the table by yourself. Well,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It was amazing. It
Yeah.
made everything so much easier, so much smoother. So then 5 days after that, we were quarantined, which means that we were.
You had to do a doctor visit.
That's right. I had to make a doctor visit to have my ankle looked at. He wouldn't take no for an answer, so I had to go there, which meant when I came back, we were quarantined for 2 weeks, which means we had to stay in our apartment for 2 weeks. Fortunately, the weather had started to warm up, so we were allowed to leave our apartment and go outside, which saved us because we were able to talk with other people and interact with other humans, of course, at a safe distance, and with masks and everything. And while we were in our apartment, our food was delivered, our mail was delivered, anything that we needed to have done was taken care of for 2 weeks. So what in our minds started out to be like, oh my gosh, how are we going to handle, being together in an apartment for 2 weeks?
Too much time together.
Too much time together. Yeah, it was fine. It was amazing. I mean, RiverWoods just goes above and beyond anything that we had expected. And so that was a really, really wonderful thing that happened. And we like Tina and Alan, we joined the pool and the gym, and between exercising there, walking the trails, walking around the neighborhood. Dennis has taken up horseshoes and cribbage, and I play mahjong and canasta. I work as a little cashier in the country store, which is another very wonderful thing to have, especially when we were in the COVID isolation thing. And anything we wanted, we could go down to the country store to get, because we weren't allowed to leave the campus. And that was a lifesaver. And what else?
And Dennis, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to have to give up the things that I'm doing now. I'm not going to be able to, play with the people I played with. But why don't you share what you did this past winter? I think that's significant in terms of your lifestyle.
Well, I am a skier, picked that up later in life, and I've been skiing 19 times this winter with good friends that we knew before we moved here. And in fact, there's a few skiers these are downhill skiing, a few skiers right here at RiverWoods that I've been able to ski with. So it is a good time, easy to, we had a network of friends before we moved here that we're still able to enjoy. And combine with all our new friends we're meeting here. And we found that it's easy to get immersed in relationships here. There is a culture of openness, of friendliness, of support. It happens easily. You don't have to struggle. Now, Nancy joined the country store. She manages their greeting card efforts. And that's been a fun thing for her, but it allows her to meet people. All the people coming to the store, it's a way to meet people. And I joined the communications committee. Communications committee is important because technology and communicating is important for all our residents to stay connected. They say that in communities like this, staying connected lowers any possibility of loneliness and isolation, those kinds of unfortunate conditions by over a third. And so we've got great communication with a resident portal system that, by the way, is being upgraded. I volunteer to help other residents that are having trouble with their Apple products, their computers, and their phones and pads. Everybody at our age is challenged in some way or another with this technology. I mean, heck, it never existed before when we were kids. And now it's something that helps us stay connected with the outside world and with each other. And the communications committee is just knee deep into that. And I was very glad to help out. And it also gives me a chance to meet new people and make friends. So I've enjoyed that particularly as well.
That's great. That's great. I know we have several questions that are coming in, which I'm going to pose to you. But can you share, each one of you, just kind of in a briefly, what your biggest adjustment was?
I'm not really sure I had much of an adjustment.
Okay. Yep.
A pretty seamless effort. Probably the main thing would be a change from a very solitary lifestyle where it was right in the middle of the pandemic that I moved in, and I'd spent probably the previous 4 months alone in my house. Just my only contact on the phone was on the telephone. Now, all of a sudden, I've got all these people knocking on my door, coming to see me, inviting me to join this group or that. And I wouldn't call it an adjustment. It was just a pleasure and a very pleasant surprise.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. How about you, Tina? Anything that you
Well, I didn't have to adjust to being here because it really is very easy. But I did have to adjust to now hardly ever cooking anymore. There are the meals and I eat them.
That's
So now that
great.
people are coming in and I have family coming in, I will have to learn how to cook again. But it was a positive adjustment.
I
That's
don't
great.
mention the cooking at all. I hate to cook, so this was wonderful.
Well, besides the brownies, Nancy, what was your biggest pleasant surprise?
I think just how nice everybody is, friendly and nice and accommodating and you know, as I think it was Tina that said, the staff, they're just, you know, they take like happy pills or something. I don't know. It's like, you know, they're wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And right from, you know, and you'd think high school kids, because I know now they don't have as many because of the COVID, but early on, they have the greatest hiring staff to hire these young people who are friendly. Right now they're bringing our meals up to our little lounge because we can't eat in the dining room. And you know, we might be sitting there visiting with another resident and they'll, you know, take your little bag of your dinner that night and not just leave it on the table, which they would do if you weren't there, but, you know, they'll come over and hand it to you and say, you know, here, Mr. Wagner, or here, Mrs. Wagner, or whatever, you know, and they don't have to do that. It was just a little extra stuff, but they just the nicest people. And I don't know how they do that, but
I think this has been the place to be during the COVID.
oh, definitely.
If we would have stayed in our home, I think we'd have suffered more isolation.
Yeah, like Alan.
We'd have to take care of ourselves. Being here, socialization,
Oh, yeah.
even with the restrictions, with the lockdown and not being able to interact with the relatives so much, that has been a savior. I'll tell you, RiverWoods has been on top of COVID from the very start. They've implemented procedures throughout that have kept us safe. We have not had COVID problems that have filled the news around the country. We have felt safe, secure throughout, and I think that's very important. So the biggest adjustment was going through that, but it was as a family here. My biggest personal adjustment was living really close to Nancy again. Normally, we throughout my career, we've had healthy separation, and I just didn't know if we could survive in one apartment together. I'm kidding, but it's been.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What about a question about entertaining? Do you see, I mean, it's been a different year, but do people entertain people in their apartments now? Or how does that work? Do you have, you know, can you give some input on that? Question came in about that.
We did most of our entertaining. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dennis. Go ahead. Well, as far as entertaining goes, there's not much entertaining in our own apartments. We've been restricted when I came in. RiverWoods discouraged it, but people get together and meet regularly in our common areas. There's lounges in each one of the floors in each of the villages. Where I live in the Pinkham Village here in the woods, there's a regular group that meets in the lounge every night before dinner. There's our happy hour that we get together with our favorite beverage and talk before we have our dinners. Saturday is the big night where we have to sort of restrict the numbers that go in to get it down to the 12-person limit in the lounge right now, but it's coming along and it's getting better, and we're visiting and socializing more often all the time.
That's great. That's great. I think that's probably true for everyone on this little panel, that they would say, you know, and I've seen little setups in the lounge areas, and I know our residents have been making every effort to sort of connect in whatever way is possible. One of the questions, and I'll answer this, does campus transportation take you to Phillips Exeter Academy for concerts? Yes, we do. We have not. Post-COVID, everything has been on Zoom, so they have not had any concerts, but when they do resume, we absolutely, it's one of the places that we go to. A question for you, Alan, how long were you on the wait list? I should know this, but I don't. Can you answer that?
I was on a wait list for 4 years.
Okay, great. Okay, okay.
It was nice. I
So-
went to a whole lot of future resident events, and that kept me connected. And I got to know a lot of people that are my neighbors today. There are 4 or 5 different people that I met as future residents, and now we're new friends as residents.
That's great. That's great. I know another question is someone asking about how long. Tina, how long were you on the wait list? Do you remember? I mean,
3.5.
3.5. How about you, Dennis and Nancy? How long were you on the wait
It
list?
turned out 2.5 because we
2.5,
got an early
okay.
call that nobody else wanted to take that unit right over the holiday period.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and that's a very important point. We say our wait list is fluid. You know, sometimes people are surprised when they get the call and they say, you told us 5 and now you're calling me it's 2. So, you know, it fluctuates. You know, we try to honor the time frame that you tell us when you think you're going to be ready. Sometimes things come up sooner and we want to run it by you, but you certainly are in control in making the decision. So understanding that it's not an exact science, and certainly we wish we had a crystal ball and can tell everyone that's on the wait list when they're going to be coming in, but that's impossible. So, so I think that just being open and communicating with us and doing what these people did, which was to connect with the community. I mean, if there was a future resident event, they attended, they connected, they met their new neighbors, they had conversations with us. And sometimes people say, I'm not ready for 10 years. And then, you know, something happens, like Alan said during COVID. I remember during COVID, he was isolated, he was alone. He was more eager to get here. And I think a lot of people did have that sentiment over COVID. But there are different things that come up in our lives that prompt us to maybe move a little bit sooner than later. So, you know, just stay in touch with us. We're happy to try to give you an idea, but it's one of the most difficult questions that we get is when am I gonna get the call? Another question that came is, what was the hardest thing you had to adjust to, and how well did you downsize? Anyone want to take a shot at that? I think we talked a little bit about the adjustments already, but what was downsizing?
Well,
Well, I think, no, go ahead, Dan. Yep, me? I think as both of you mentioned before, that apartment layout shows you different size furniture. You measure your furniture, you see right away what you can put in. And there was, I downsized what I didn't need because nothing would fit. And I remember one of the presentations was on downsizing that I came to here. And she said she had all her beautiful china and all her beautiful old glassware. She had lived here for 5 years. She had never used them. So really, it's a much more casual place, and your really good stuff. See if your kids will take them, because, well, they won't want them either. But try and get rid of a lot of stuff that you really haven't used yourself, even though maybe it's in your heart. They're only things, and you're taking what really means something to you with you, memories.
It's true.
But
It's
they're
true.
things, and if they break, they're things. So
I
that
just
was
wanna
the way
share-
I did it.
I just want to share this wonderful sentiment from someone. It's really wonderful to hear from new residents, so helpful. I am so grateful to each of these residents. I am hearing so many helpful ideas and experiences. Taking their valuable time to do this is most appreciated. Please let everyone know that they have made a difference for me. And I'm someone who has investigated 12 CCRCs on the East Coast. No place has ever done anything this informative. So kudos to all of you.
Good.
So question about the personalities at each campus. Have you found that each of these campuses has a different personality? The Wagners live at the Woods, Tina lives at the Ridge, and Alan lives at the Woods.
Well, I chose the Ridge because it was smaller and I would be more comfortable in a smaller community and get to know the people. Yes, this is my dog who was sitting here moaning. So
I think we would have done fine in any of the communities. The size unit that was best suited us was a 1-bedroom plus a den. And they had that at the Boulders and the Woods. The one that came up first was the Woods. We are very happy in the Woods. It's the largest community, about twice as large as the other two. We like that because there's more people and that suits us. I think we would have been quite happy in any of the other residents. And, you know, during this COVID, we've been restricted in travel to enter each of the other communities, the other campuses. So I'm really looking forward to this opening up, and we can spend more time with folks in the Ridge and the Boulders. And I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think both, and Alan, I'll let you, but I think I try to encourage people to go for what the size apartment, the style, because we have 40 floor plans and they're different in each campus. So what floor plan feels best to you? The personalities, if you're someone that wants to meet more people, then you have an opportunity to go to the Woods, the Ridge, and the Boulders under normal circumstances. You can join a committee. If you're on a committee, you might be on a committee with someone from the Ridge or the Boulders.
Yeah.
So there's lots of organic ways that you can meet people. I think what's most important is for you to feel good about the space you're moving into, and that's going to be the driving force.
Yeah.
Most people have an intuitive feeling about that when they come and do the tours. So I think it's really, RiverWoods is our family name, and we want to think of this community here in Exeter as being, you know, you've got 6 different dining options. How exciting is that? A main dining room and a cafe at each campus, you know, trails in all campuses, art studios in each. So the luxury we have here is you've got 3 different atmospheres, 3 different chefs that cook different things at different campuses, and a welcoming from residents, no matter what campus you live at. So that's really, really up to you. How someone asked, what would you do differently getting ready to move in? Does anyone have anything that they might do differently?
I would not have had Nancy break her ankle.
Oh, okay, let's see. Anyone else have a comment?
Although that was a neat thing. We had a scooter that she was maneuvering around on. And for our first month being able outdoors, Nancy was known by everybody as the lady with the scooter.
That's great. Someone asked about what they sell in the country store, Nancy. I know that answer, but maybe you can share. Our motto is if we don't have it, you don't need it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just started working there, so I've had like 3 days, I think, where I was the cashier, and pretty much grocery type items, you know, odds and ends, you know, from cereal to soda to butter, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Greeting
Cards, gifts.
Yeah, greeting cards, and there's some small gift items. If you're looking for a little treasure for a family friend or whatever. And but pretty much groceries is probably the number one thing, because not everybody drives. And if you just need one thing,
Yeah.
a thing of oatmeal or something, and
Yeah.
you could just buzz
Or a
down.
card. I mean, often we forget, birthdays or significant events, sympathy cards, you can pop down. They're very inexpensive. They're not what you would pay in a Hallmark store.
Yeah,
And there's a wide range of cards. And then there's also cards that are done by our resident artists. So
Yeah.
there's some individual creative work there. So they all have country stores. And again, if Tina doesn't find something at her country store, she can come over here, the Boulders. So you're welcome to go to any one of them. Question has come about people dropping off the wait list. In fact, we really have grown our wait list during COVID. There are people that have postponed coming in during COVID, and that's natural response, and we honor that, respect that. But we've added close to 100 people through virtual tours in many cases to our wait list. So there's been a shift. I mean, we've also had some transitions and just that have naturally happened over the past year. People that have transitioned to assisted living, so we've had some openings as a result of that in some of our cottages. So as I mentioned, our wait list is fluid. We continue to build it, which is wonderful. But we certainly understood people that wanted to wait until this was over before they moved in. So that was a natural. We expected that.
One of the things, Diane, is
Yeah.
that wait list is an important sign of how financially healthy this community is. I think we're all interested in, when we come here, is it going to be managed fiscally so that it'll be here with the same quality as when we entered throughout the rest of our life. And the community is managed with a long-term look. And I think that's important. And people are wondering, will nursing homes and senior living homes and all that suffer because of COVID, because of some of those bad stories you heard?
Yes, that's right.
And it's I think a kudos to RiverWoods that our waiting list has actually grown.
Yes, we really feel very proud of that. And, lots of it is due to the communication efforts of our CEO, Justine Vogel, on COVID. And a lot of people, as Alan and some of you mentioned, that, during COVID, people have reevaluated their lives and understood the need for community. I mean, many people have not come out of their houses and done minimal over the past year. And that isolation is very bad for us in terms of wellness. So I think a lot of people are reassessing their life and say, wait a minute, what do I want to do in the next 2 to 3 years? This could happen again. So I think it has really corroborated the need for community and being part of something. Even with the restrictions here, people have still been able to get up and have coffee with a neighbor or just pass a neighbor out on a trail. That's really, really important. I see the value as someone who's age appropriate to come in, and I say, wow, this is really an amazing, amazing place in many ways. Someone asked about a proportion of single to couples. I mean, I don't know the exact on that, Susan, but I would say we're probably about 60% singles or couple. But this is a community where someone asked that question. I asked a question to a woman who was single here, and I said, Nancy, what is it like, being single or becoming single? And she said, I just connect with people that are like-minded. This is a community, whether you're a couple or whether you're single, if you have common interests, she said, I'll go in the dining room and might, connect with someone that we have current event issues that we talk about. So, I don't see in my almost 14 years here, when I go in the dining room, I see a lot of mixing, mingle, and with couples and single people. We're all one. eventually we're all going to be single, so I think if we look at ourselves as being a whole rather than a part, that's significant. So anyway, you'd be very welcomed. Whatever your status is when you come here, you would be very welcomed. And I can say that as someone that almost lives here. I mean, I've been here long enough. Has anyone used Wayforth? Did any of you use Wayforth for your downsizing? That's a company that helps with downsizing. I don't think you did. Yeah, okay. Dennis, the question is, where did you put your washer and dryer? Or did you?
There is a, in the woods, there is a common washer and dryer laundry room right down the hallway from us. Very convenient to use. At the newer campuses, washers and dryers, and in the larger apartments come in that. Ours does not. And I think, Nancy, that hasn't been a bother for you, has it?
Well, and because your sheets and towels are done for you by laundry, so you don't have huge loads. So I'll do like a load of white clothes and a load of dark clothes in the course of a week and a half, and haven't had any issues with using the laundry on this floor. It seems to be fine.
Great.
While you might have to wait 5 minutes for somebody else has their wash in or whatever.
Yeah, and as people are moving in, we are offering them in the smaller apartments a washer and dryer, and some people are saying, no, I want more space. So, that is something at the Woods campus that, when it started, they didn't have them. But fast forward, we are offering them, and that's, as Nancy and Dennis said, they're right around the corner in most cases, and it's really just your personal laundry. And most people think it's effortless and say, I'd rather have more space. So, so we do take, our transportation services will take you within a 25-mile radius. So that is complimentary. They take you to shopping, the supermarkets if you need to, errands. And of course, before COVID, they were very busy driving people to events, symphony on Fridays and, music hall and lots of things, that will resume at some point, but right now, basically the biggest support that they provide is shopping and doctor's appointments. If you're not up for driving, you can use our transportation services. So I think we answered most of the important questions. I cannot say enough about Nancy and Dennis and Alan and Tina. I mean, I work and live with these people. I mean, am I blessed or what? I mean, I have the best job in the world. I'm totally blown away with your comments, the way you expressed yourselves right from your heart. Very, very important. And for those of you that have taken the time, over 70 people have taken the time to hear from you. Thank you. Continue asking us questions. We look forward to the day when we can invite you to an event here. We are offering tours now, so you can come in for a tour, so we welcome that. We're not able to, our communal dining is not up and running yet, and we're not able to go into resident apartments, but certainly if you want to get a sense of who we are, we would welcome that. Please reach out to us. And on behalf of all of us at RiverWoods, I want to give a big hug, a virtual hug to our team of presenters. Just amazing. And to all of you for taking the time to get to know us. So happy spring. We look forward to meeting you in person, and have a good rest of the week. Stay well and safe.
Okay, and.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yay!
That was for my 80th birthday.
That's great. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.